Hi, I'm John Arana, and this is Karina San Martin.
Hey, everybody.
We're here once again at the drop.
Yes.
And we're dropping truth.
Bringing life.
And we're bringing life.
Yeah.
We're trying to do everything we can to kind of share something that's going to be useful, helpful.
Yeah.
You know, and so today is going to be a little bit more of an organic conversation.
Yeah, sure. I love it. I love it.
And I mean, we're going to talk about relationships.
Yeah. Good topic.
Man, we've been... You know, I've been in relationships for 66 years.
Oh, yeah. With mom. Yeah.
No, since I've been born.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Duh.
And you too. You've been in a relationship for 39 years.
39, pushing 40.
But anyhow, you're on your 15th year of marriage, right?
Yes, we just celebrated our 14th anniversary.
Oh.
So we have officially started our 15th year of being married. And man, if being married doesn't teach you about relationships, I don't know what does.
You'll never learn.
You know, yeah.
If you don't learn it there, you'll never learn it.
It's a beautiful, challenge, I think, you know, being married.
Absolutely.
And it's the most rewarding relationship. Second to, or first to, you know, your relationship with your kids, which comes second.
Yeah.
But
that's another challenge.
yeah, that is a whole different realm of relationships, you know. But I'm excited about this topic because I think, you know, life, honestly, no matter who you are, no matter what your personality is, like life is all about relationships.
Absolutely.
With your job, with your family, with even if you're the type of person that's like super introverted, you still have a very deep relationship with yourself, you know, that
hopefully.
Hopefully. But life is all about relationships.
Yeah. It's true, because think about it. You know, we're in relationship with money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're in relationship with the things we have.
Yeah.
You know, do we take care of the car? Do we change the oil?
Yeah.
You know, am I a good steward of my finances?
Yeah,
So it's all about relationship, but
Yeah.
we're specifically going to talk about human relationship.
Yeah.
And some things that we've identified as we've talked to people, you know, all these years in ministry, serving God and people, we've noticed a couple of key things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That we need to clarify.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah. I
think
love it.
I think one of the big things is respect.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I
a
think
big one.
when people lose respect for each other, then the relationship goes downhill.
Yeah.
And I think respect is a big issue, because, you know, how do we get that respect?
Yeah.
You know, do we start with it? And
Yeah.
then maybe sometimes we lose it,
Yeah.
you know, and what is respect for
Yeah.
some people, you know, might be different for
yeah.
for women than for men,
Yeah.
or whatever, you
Right,
know.
yeah.
What do you
I
think
know.
about the respect
I
issue?
think respect is a huge aspect to any healthy relationship. And, you know, to be honest, like, you're in your relationships, whether it's a married relationship or a friendship or, you know, a father-daughter or a sibling.
Exactly.
You're not always going to respect the other person's, like, choices. Like, in other words, you're not always going to be like, man, I like that choice. I respect that choice.
So maybe I'm not always going to agree with the choice, but I might respect it. I might say, well, that's not how I would do it.
That's what I'm saying.
But
yeah.
I respect you for making that decision.
That's a good clarification.
And owning up to it.
I think what I was getting at was that you should always respect the person.
There you go.
But you're not always going to like their decisions.
Exactly.
You know, like, because you don't like their decision does not give an excuse for disrespecting them as a person.
There you go.
As a human being, you know, and I think that's an art to learn how to communicate that. You know, I think, you know, something I've learned in some of my relationships is even voicing and saying, look, I don't really like the decision that you're making. I don't agree with it. I don't see it that way. But I still love you.
Exactly.
And I'm even if it's hard for me with certain people or certain decisions,
right.
I have to make sure that I check my own heart and I say, I'm going to still respect you as a person.
Exactly.
And honor you as a person because that's what you deserve.
Exactly.
And it's not about agreeing all the time.
Yeah, no, I think we could disagree.
Yeah.
And still respect each other.
Yeah.
And I think
which is it's huge to understand that.
It's big. And I think that also is the same thing with our children. You know, we have to correct them.
Right.
Sometimes we have to rebuke them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But we should never lose respect for them.
Right.
You know, just because they're children, that doesn't mean we can disrespect them.
That's right.
Because that affects their psyche, their
emotions, their self-worth. Yeah.
But I think one of the things that I always like to define words.
You looked up respect. That's good.
I looked up respect. It says the act of giving a particular designated attention. It says to have high regards for the person. You know, you really think highly of this person, even though you might not agree with their choice or behavior.
Yeah, right.
And I think respect for me has a lot to do with character. Yeah. You know?
That's true.
I think one of the things that I see in couples, and the longer I'm married to your mom, Karen, it's going to be 45 years in January. The older you get, it seems like the more comfortable you get with each other.
Yeah, sure.
And it seems like it's easier. So easy to lose respect, you know, because you're going like deep inside in your mind, you're hearing something from the other person and you're going like, well, what do you know about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because you're comfortable and you like know the other person really well, and you know, and I think with, you know, it's kind of like that double-edged sword. Like the deeper you go in a certain relationship, the more you know about that person, the more they know about you, and I think that they're, you know, I know for me, like I think specifically about my marriage and some of my close relationships, like one of my sisters and my best friend, and you know, there's more opportunity in those deeper relationships for like these encounters of opportunity to be disrespectful, you know, because there's a lot of like, well, if I don't agree or I don't see it the way that you see it, then obviously realistically that can create conflict.
Absolutely.
And so then within that conflict, I think there is an art form to learning how to still respect the person, even though there's a conflict because of an issue or whatever.
Absolutely.
And that for me
think about it. You're going from one particular behavior or one particular decision that person's making versus their entire personality.
Exactly. That's,
you know?
That's I think a really good perspective to keep, you know.
So one's the big picture, the other one is just maybe a one-time behavior. You know? So you could say, I don't really like that, but man, I really highly regard you, and I'm sure you're thinking this through, or you're doing whatever you need to do.
I have a question. You know? I have a question for you. What are
I'm
some...
not sure I have an answer, but let's try it.
Well, I'm sure you have some input.
Let's try it.
So I know I've experienced like interactions where, you know, somebody does something or makes a decision and my respect for that person does lower.
Diminishes.
It diminishes my respect for that person because I saw them at a certain place or a certain level, and they do an action or they say something to me or do something to another person, and I think, I do not respect what that person just did. I am upset that person just did that or said that, and my respect for them just went out the window. But so I guess my question is, what are some tips of how to deal with that type of situation?
Yeah.
Because obviously every person should be respected,
Yeah.
whether you agree with them or not.
Absolutely.
But like, the reality of the emotions that come into play, in those
Yeah.
relational interactions.
Absolutely,
What
yeah.
are some tips for like, okay, feeling that way and it being really genuine, but still trying to be a good person and be respectful of that person?
Yeah. I think for me, this is how it plays out. I have I have to hone in and I have to separate the character from the behavior.
Okay.
Because the behavior
That's
doesn't
good.
always matches the character. You know, obviously our goal is for it to match.
Yeah, of course.
To have integrity. But there are times when someone who has good character,
Yeah.
does something stupid.
Sure. We all do. I mean,
Says
all of
the
us
wrong
have
thing. It's disrespectful.
All of us
and
have
so-
those moments.
and so on
Yeah.
and so forth.
Right.
And so you have to kind of, separate the two, and
That's
and
good.
say, okay, I can't judge this person by this one event. I have to look at this person within the context of their entire character.
Yeah, that's good.
And
really good.
And realize that, hey, we all make mistakes. We all say the wrong thing at some point
Right.
or another, and that's why forgiveness obviously is an important thing.
Yeah.
But that doesn't take away the fact that it's going to bother you. It might
Yeah.
irritate you. It might make you angry.
Right.
It might hurt you.
Yeah.
And you want to go and say, "What in the world is your
Sure.
problem, buddy?"
Yeah, sure, sure. Oh, no, yeah.
But
Yeah.
the respect comes in when you say, "Man, that was dumb." But man, I know your character.
Yeah, that's so
I know
good.
you're good for it.
Yeah.
And I know you probably just had a mental fog
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, or even I've
I've
even encountered in some of my close relationships, like, somebody doing something, and I'm thinking in my mindset,
In your
I'm thinking
perspective.
that is not the right move.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, it's
Yeah.
like, well, I do love and respect this person, and
Sure.
and I know, like you're saying, that's you put that so well. The character of this person
Yeah.
is that they are doing the very best that they can, and they're
exactly.
making the best decision that they strongly believe
That's right.
is best for blank.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, as a friend or as a sister or as a wife or whatever,
Sure.
I want to be a support to them in the best way
Exactly.
that I
Yeah.
can. So that's a really good way to put it. The character of the person versus
that
one
behavior
decision or behavior that I might be like, what
in the world?
because I mean, when it boils down to it, it's not my life,
Right.
and but in those close relationships,
It
you
gets
share
to you.
you
It gets
share
to
a
you.
level of intimacy because
Yeah.
you are sharing life
Yeah.
with a person. I think it's easier to blow off like a coworker that
Sure.
you're not super close to, but for me it's those deeper
Yeah.
relationships.
Well, that's why they say that the people that are the closest to you
Sure.
are the ones that hurt the most.
Yeah, of course, because there's a deep love and care there. in
And
that
there's an
relationship.
expectation. There's an
yeah, that
expectation
too.
that, I love you, you love me, and man, I never ever imagined you would say anything to hurt me.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And that's kind of like an unrealistic expectation.
Yes, of course.
Because everyone's going to put their foot in their mouth once in a while.
Yeah. Right.
And so, but I think separating the two is what helps me, and it helps
really
me to
good.
realize this
Yeah.
person is a lot bigger than this one occasion.
Right, than this moment or
Yeah.
this interaction. Yeah.
And so you have high
really good.
regards. You have high regards for them. You're able to believe in them.
Yeah.
You're able to say,
so good. That's really good.
hey, I know that you're going to come out of this, or I know you're going to,
Yeah.
get a second win, or
Yeah.
whatever it is, because you have that respect. And I think that respect also shows people, excuse me, that you believe in them.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And you realize, wow, man, that was a bad move.
Yeah.
But I highly respect your
Yeah.
character because I know you.
Totally.
And come on, get up, let's
Good,
get
yeah.
going.
And I think love goes with, I mean, of course, in all elements of relationship, love has to be,
the cornerstone of everything.
And so I think when you truly allow love to operate through you, especially in these moments of, like, if you experience something that you feel is diminishing how respectful you felt towards that person.
Right.
And when you let love take over, that always puts me in check too and says, well, do you love this person?
Exactly.
Well, if you really love this person, then you're not going to let this interaction or issue take over, because you are going to respect them in high regard in the rightful place that they deserve, you know, that they should get, just because you love them.
Exactly. I think that's really good that you're saying that, because I think love is the key to everything. And I think that when you extend that respect, you highly regard someone, you believe in them, you're also saying, you know, I know you messed up, but I am going to respond to you in a way that's going to benefit you. Even if I'm hurt, even if I'm disappointed that you did this or whatever, I'm going to respond in a way that's going to be constructive. Yeah. And I think respect.
Man, that's really hard to do sometimes, though. In the heat of the moment,
it's
especially.
Easy to say it. It's easy to say it than doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. But that is what we should strive for
exactly,
sure.
Exactly. Because I think that keeps the relationship with its proper boundaries. Yeah. You know, and there isn't the expectation that this person should always do the right thing, always say the right thing, always act the right way. Right. You know, if you got that expectations, you're going to continue to live your life disappointed.
Well, and you 100% don't have that expectation for yourself.
Well, but that's
you know
for
what
sure.
I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, they say we judge other people by their actions, but we judge ourselves by our intentions. Oh, somebody taught you well.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But I think that's really, really key. And I think you started touching on the next part, which was boundaries.
Boundaries.
And having clear boundaries in relationships. Yeah. That's really, really good too. And I think one of the clearest boundaries, like in relationships that we experience, maybe not so much for me and you because you're my dad and you're also my boss, but I think in a normal working environment is like a worker, you know, and their boss. Like there's just a super clear boundary with that relationship. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, that it's almost like just an unspoken thing as an employee. You're like, whoa, that's the boss. Like
their roles. Yeah, their
roles
know, and
there
functions.
Are things I can and cannot say to boss. There are things I can and cannot do to boss. You know, like we act a certain way around boss because there's just these like super clear roles.
Yeah, that's funny
super
because
clear boundaries.
We work together. Right?
Yes.
You know, Karen, your mom, my wife, and we all work together. And, you know, the other staff as well. But, you know,
our boundaries are a little more difficult.
Yes. You know, and then there's been some times where, you know, because we all have a different function.
Of course,
but we all have the same value.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I think that's important, that function does not determine value. Mm-hmm. You know, your personhood determines your value. But anyhow, so I know there's been a couple times, you know, where it gets heated, you know, sometimes either in our meetings or whatever. Yes. And sometimes Karen, because, you know, we're married, so we're together all the time, pretty much. And whether it is at night or early in the morning, she'll start talking to me, you know, and I'm like, and I need to know that why. And she's like, oh, well, I just
like work stuff, right?
Work stuff. I just need to say, you know, something. I just need to talk to somebody. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'll say, well, can we talk later? And she'll keep insisting. Yeah. You know. Yeah.
Because it's in her mind. Yeah.
Yeah. And I look at her and I say, would you do that to a regular boss?
Call him when he's in bed watching Chicago Fire, and share your thoughts.
And so she looks at me and goes like, well, no.
Of course not. Yeah.
But you're not my regular. You're not like a regular boss. You're also my husband.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So there needs to be boundaries.
Yes, in all relationships.
And we need to respect those boundaries.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've experienced it too. You know, like we'll be in meeting and I'll say something and then I'm like, man, I shouldn't have said that. That was a little too much, a little too strong. And then I have to make a phone call, like, hey, Dad, Pastor, I'm really sorry.
Or vice versa.
Or Mom.
Or vice versa.
Mom, I'm sorry, but I think we're touching on something that's really important is, one is communicate clear boundaries within relationships, and then two, like, if you cross those boundaries, like, be the first to apologize, like, be the first to ask for forgiveness, because that's a part of keeping a healthy relationship. Like, boundaries will be crossed.
And it's easy to identify when you cross it if you have it.
Yes, and if you don't have it,
then you don't know.
Yeah, and then sometimes I've experienced with certain relationships where, like, I'll start to feel bad in a relationship. Like, I'm feeling used, or I'm feeling like this person reaches out, like, mainly when they need something. But I'm like, first I just start feeling weird about it. And then when I stop and I start thinking, why am I feeling this way?
Right.
In those moments, those are moments that help you create boundaries if you haven't created those boundaries. And so then you have to say, okay, maybe with this relationship, I need to create a mental boundary for myself, or an emotional boundary. Like, maybe I thought it was this type of relationship and it's not, and that's okay. But I'm going to create a boundary for this relationship so that I know and I can keep myself healthy and I can keep the relationship healthy. Okay, this relationship is like, hey, let's just like have fun randomly. Okay, got it. You know what I'm saying? And so it's important to even create those boundaries for yourself.
And when you know what they are, then it's a lot easier to cooperate with each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And on top of that, when you know what the boundaries are, you're also in a much easier place to keep each other accountable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think one of the things that I see in a lot of relationships, whether it's friendship or ministry or marriage, is that there are no boundaries.
Yeah.
There's no boundary, so people think I can say whatever I want to say whenever I want to say it, and I can choose to do this or not do it, or one day I throw out the trash, the next day forget it, it's not my responsibility. And so it creates a lot of stress.
Stress.
A lot of
in
stress
the relationship.
the relationship.
Yeah. That's one thing that we've learned as a married couple. It's really important to communicate those boundaries, and like, I remember it's I've gotten a lot better at it, but it's kind of always like a thing. And Sergio, one of his boundaries relationally is that, like, he cannot do the yelling, like, when I yell, when I get really loud. And I have told him so many times, like, you don't understand. Like, I have Italian blood, I have Puerto Rican blood,
oh my gosh,
like, I have Spanish blood,
you got double portion.
Like, it is so hard for me sometimes not to yell. And I'm like, you don't understand. In my house, we were yelling. Even when we were excited, sometimes we were just yelling.
That's right.
And
we were loud and proud.
And and I'm just like, and I've gotten a lot better. And I have to tell myself, like, okay, because he's told me, look, when you yell at me, I can't even hear you. Like, I just can't hear you.
You shut down.
And I will not engage with you. And and in my brain, I'm like, what?
That's when you should listen to me the most.
I'm like, what? You don't want to, like, yell back? Like, let's just be yelling, I mean, not really, but in my head, I'm like, I'm just upset.
Come on, man.
I'm just upset, but it's a boundary that I've had to learn to adjust.
Exactly.
Just like I've had to communicate to him, hey, when you say that to me, I can't handle it.
I can't.
I shut down and I can't hear you. And so those boundaries are important to communicate. And it's not to be like, oh, do what I want. It's for the health of the relationship.
Exactly.
That's
the whole point.
Exactly.
I remember when I first met your mom and we were dating, I told her, look, I can handle just about anything. But I can't handle you lying to me. don't ever lie to me, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
And I
yeah.
said, because I can't deal with that,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
That's something in my life that, you know, trust doesn't come easy for me.
Yeah.
And so imagine if you lie to me, so forget it. I'll never
Yeah.
be able to trust you, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
That's a big boundary. And
Yeah.
I think when you establish clarity of your roles,
Yeah.
and you communicate that with each other, and you're doing it for the health of the relationship,
Exactly.
then
Yeah.
I think it's a super, super healthy thing to do.
100%.
But I think
yeah.
our time is just flying
Yeah,
by.
yeah.
And
Man, it's such a good topic,
such a
you
good
know,
topic,
and it's
right?
just like literally life is all about relationships.
it is.
And,
It is.
oh man, sometimes
Think about your relationship with God and other people and everything
you
else.
know, and it's
Everything else.
something that you have to be intentional to build the health of your relationships. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there is no relationship on earth that just is healthy on
Oh my
accident.
God, yeah.
You know, and that's
No.
good on accident. Like,
It's actually everything that is not attended always
it just
worse.
gets worse. Yeah. So like
So you
this
gotta
is
take care of
this
it.
is such these are such good segments that we
Yeah.
have coming up here
Yeah.
at the drop. Like make sure you tune in, and they're great ones
Share
to
it, share it with a friend,
Exactly.
because this is a universal topic.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And
yeah.
so we covered today two elements: the respect,
Yeah.
the need for respect in relationships, and we already said what that means.
Yeah.
And then we covered the second thing, which is boundaries.
Boundaries, yeah.
Establish clear roles and
Boundaries,
and
yeah.
expectations, and be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Say,
Yeah.
I can't deal with this. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those two things begin to establish healthy ground
That's good,
for a healthy relationship.
Definitely.
Which will be mutually beneficial. And that's
course.
what we're after.
Yeah.
Okay. So hey, we want to see you at the next episode, because
Yes.
we're going to continue talking about these principles of relationship.
Yeah.
And I think you're definitely going to get something out of it.
Yeah.
And I believe your relationships are going to go to a higher
Definitely.
level. So
Definitely.
God bless you. Thank you for being with us at The Drop, and we'll see you at the next episode.
See you next week.